Okay.
We're at the Enterprise Farm now. It's the final stop on the 2018 early crop tour. This is a field of P0589 AM that's planted on the bean ground. And this particular hybrid's our most sold this year, I would say. It's been out for about 2 years fairly heavily. We had it the third year that was just in plots. And I stood on the bed of my truck and just looked over this field, and it looks very uniform. All has a good, healthy, dark green color to it. It's just a couple leaves away from tasseling. This is a very exciting field. I remember last year too, I told Therese that this particular farm had probably the best looking field of beans I had seen in my trade area, and this field of corn would have to be right up there with what I have seen here. So one thing I mentioned to Teresa in the way over, with the amount of rainfall that we've had this growing season so far, we've got areas that have had up to 17, 20 inches of rain, and I think that's more so up to the north, towards Ocean and Decorah that way. But with that much rainfall, one concern we have going in and finishing out this crop is trying to determine where our nitrogen levels are at, because nitrogen's mobile in the soil. And if we get too much rain filtering through that soil profile, we are at a higher risk of losing nitrogen. Just to kind of put in perspective a little bit here, by the time that corn plant reaches tassel, it's used about 60% of its nitrogen that it's going to need to finish out its life cycle. So if we start seeing nitrogen deficiencies there shortly after tassel, or we're hitting R2, R3 stage, that's probably going to be limiting some of our grain fill, which is going to take some test weight out, which is determining yield as well. But right now, I'm not seeing any nitrogen deficiencies, which is good. And like Teresa and I had talked on the way over to this field, I think, and I'm hoping that as we get farther south down here towards West Union, I don't think you guys have had quite the rainfall that a lot of the areas to the north have faced. So I'm thinking we're going to finish this crop out with good nitrogen levels. But overall, to put a summary on our scouting today, I think weed control was very good. Uniformity, as excluding a couple wet spots here or there, is very good, both in corn and in beans. The crop progress, though, I think is the biggest surprise of all from what we probably would have anticipated a month and a half ago when this was planted. With this heat and the heat that we are continuing to get, I know I mentioned it a couple times earlier, it's going to keep everything progressing, and it'll be fun to continue to watch and monitor this crop. So.